Hey YouTube, what you know good? He is the Reverend. This is Project K&M, and yeah, I know, I know. It's been a while since I've been, uploaded anything on this channel. There's an obvious reason for that. It's the same reason it's always been. Life does not seem to care every time I try to do something that involves my artwork and my passion. There's life with the issues with the day job. There's trying to build an LLC. There's the eye surgery, and the eye patch. Oh man, there's just so many things that have happened. But you know what? It's not stopping me. When you're stuck at rock bottom, there's nowhere to go but up, and that's what I'm gonna keep trying to do here. Speaking of working and trying to move up, did you know that I always got my commissions open? If not, let me take this opportunity to remind you that I do. And I take commissions super serial. Basically, I try to put the mission in commission. Whenever I get a contract, it means it's time to throw it into mercenary mode. Now, before we get started with the mission proper, a quick thanks to my client, DoomRecon. Thanks for hiring me, and if you're interested in his OC Jason or his fanfiction story, Wormhole, links will be in the description. With that said, mission start! Now this illustration took place around 2021, and this was after a collection of smaller commissions that were out of my comfort zone, doing things that weren't necessarily things that I would use to drawing. But it was a good experience, and it taught me exactly what I really needed to improve on. And so did this illustration here. The basic idea for the illustration was really simple. DoomRecon has his character Jason in several different illustrations before I even met the guy. He apparently has this story, I haven't read it, called Wormhole, and I think it takes place in Kenko Cross's Monster Girl Encyclopedia universe. And this is around the time where, while I knew about the MGE, I didn't really draw a lot of fan art or anything involving characters from that. But I do know the art style, and I do know it's popular. When DoomRecon contacted me, he sent me several images regarding his OC, as well as several different monster girls that Jason is, interacted with. Usually they were demons. This time he wanted me to draw a succubus for him. He also gave me full clearance on exactly how to draw that succubus. I got free reign to design this character any way I wanted to, with the one necessity, his words, not mine. He said, as long as she is, quote unquote, overtly voluptuous. Yeah, I went and took a weekend to kind of design a few things, and I thought I had a really good idea. And I even have the concept design, the concept sketch, still somewhere on my computer. But after a little bit of back and forth, there were certain things he wanted changed, and I ended up saving the original design I had for this character for, future use. So I decided to redesign the succubus in this illustration, and the one I originally came up with, I ended up drawing myself later, and redesigning her a couple of times, but yeah, that's what happens. The concept of this illustration was, DoomRecon's character Jason slumped in a chair at some type of restaurant, or some type of location, some type of establishment, and there's a succubus that's just on the table, crawling towards him, about to essentially assault him. He's trying to play it cool, put a finger to the mouth, being like, will you stop? But you can see it in his face, and you can see it in his body language, the way he slumped in the chair, a little sunk back. He's trying to play it cool, but he's clearly nervous, and I can't blame him. I don't see the appeal of succubi. If anything, they creep me out. But then again, this is coming from someone who's not a fan of physical contact in the first place, and any creature like that who is getting that close, just no, just no, back up. Another key thing I need to make sure was in this picture was that Jason's still got his equipment on him. This character on his legs has some firearms. Took a minute to draw just right, but I think they came out just fine. I think it came out all right. I don't know if he's going to be trying to use a firearm like that in an eating establishment, but what can you do? Yeah, but apparently, I'm assuming this is one of those serious like trademark key components for his character. You know, make sure he stands out. Almost every character needs something like that. We also are going to have, this is going to be some type of establishment with a menu. So with his free hand, he's going to be holding a menu. And since this is clearly based off of what happens in the MGE, the menu is going to look a little risque. There are two things I actually really picked up from doing this commission back then, back in 2021. One, I really needed to work on my perspective and my background illustrations. I'm still having a little bit of trouble with this to this day, but I do have methods to kind of remedy that. When it comes to drawing things that require a ruler, when it comes to buildings, when it comes to tables, when it comes to any type of architecture, that has always been a weakness of mine. I've known this since 6th grade. This is something that I just never properly learned how to do. You know, teachers give you a quick idea of what to do, how to use this ruler, and they just kind of assume you just get it. Some people get it. I didn't. Even with certain programs and tools, like what I'm using in my illustration program of choice, Clip Studio Paint, I still have issues here and there about making sure the rulers are just right. And I'm always comparing it to other illustrations. Sometimes I would plop an illustration there and see if I could set the ruler tools so that I can match that perspective. And even then, I'm just always having trouble figuring out how to do it. And I think it's mainly because there's certain perspectives that you can't really get on the paper. You have to set the ruler in such a way where it's going to go off the paper. Thankfully, I've been slowly but surely getting better and better with using 3D programming. And thanks to programs like Blender, I'm able to actually build a few things in 3D. And I can take that as my own reference to make sure I get the perspective right. As long as I have everything in the right, I just have to get the right angle for the camera, etc., etc. It's actually how I did the background for my little chatting overlay at the beginning of this video. But I digress. The other big thing I took from this illustration was that I actually, despite the fact that I was asked to replicate the style in the illustrations that he had, they still kind of sort of reminds me of the style of the MGE, the artist being Kenko Cross. And I realized I really like the way Kenko Cross does a simplified yet noticeably stylized way of shading. And I ended up trying to learn how to do that for future reference, because I knew that eventually I was going to start drawing more characters from the MGE, be it straight from the encyclopedia in question or OCs centered around that universe. One of which would be the succubus character that I designed that I didn't use for this particular illustration but would use later, which I might show you guys in the next episode. Overall, this was something I can look back on and say 2021 me didn't do too bad. Current me looks at it like, ew, I could totally do it better now. And you know what? Maybe one of these days I will redo it. Sometimes I actually do. Sometimes I actually do redo my illustrations and come back to it later just to see if I have in fact improved. And this just might be one of those. But we'll see. At the end of the day, DoomRecon was satisfied. I got the pay. In fact, he didn't even wait until I was complete. My payment plan is half up front, and the other half is only if you're satisfied. This guy had so much trust in me to actually succeed. He paid me up front before it got finished. And he had no real complaints at all after it. After I sent him everything, I asked, is there anything we want changed? We did a little tweaking here and there, and this is what we got. So I would say mission complete. So before we wrap it up today, one more thanks to DoomRecon for commissioning me, as well as giving me the permission to actually record this and make a video out of it. Links are in the description if you want to find him and his fanfic. And if you guys are interested in commissioning me yourself, the link's also in the description. So, with that said, till next time, y'all take it easy. Memento mori, and I will catch you all in the next one. Kill the feed.